Greetings. It is I, Brysentia, and I come to you this evening to chat about the many, many changes that are taking place. Have you noticed that you may feel as if you are living in two existences at the same time? Have you felt as if you're living in your everyday life and you're just kind of plunking along and going through your everyday life, but yet in the back of your mind, there's a part of you saying, I thought this was done. I thought I was doing this today. I thought I was going to have something else happening. This kind of a disconnection or feeling like you're in two places at once is what happens to a lot of people as you start shifting your energy into a higher frequency and as you're manifesting that within you, the human. There are many different perspectives that people have about what is a walk-in. Sometimes they consider a walk-in someone that completely, one soul leaves the physical body, another soul comes into the body, and then it's 100% different person. Other times, and I think what is the most common for humanity is that you literally bring in a higher vibration of your own frequency. And you do this because you're now living at a higher frequency. And that is what opens that connection to your soul. It's what keeps you more in alignment with your soul. It is also what is helping you as you are integrating and living in your everyday life. So you may feel some of these things, you may know some of these things, but you take a time when it's like there are two aspects of you living in the same body at the same time. Shelly had this experience around 2001, and at that time for her, because I'm pulling it from her mind, at that time for her, what was going on is it was about 6 or 8 months where she might get a bill in the mail and she's saying, that's supposed to be paid. Nope, I see I still owe. So different things like that is just an example. Another thing, when she meets people like from a long time ago, high school or something like that, who are you again? So it can manifest in a lot of different ways. Now, sometimes that energy is there and available to you, and you can kind of pluck it out of the ethers, and it'll come back into you, and you can share it. So here's what I wanted to say when I pulled that from Shelly's consciousness. That was 2001. Lot denser energies, a lot less of this ability to move into the higher frequencies. So my sense is that as people are going through this at this time, there's going to be a real gentle flow that moves between the higher vibrational aspect of yourself and the everyday vibrational aspect. In addition to that, you may find that you are literally much more conscious of living multiple lives. Sometimes what may happen is you think you're living over in the other part of the world, and yes, you are, as an aspect of you from your soul, and it's like a bleed through. When you came onto the earth plane, this is a little bit redundant, and I'll just say it and move on, just in case people are questioning it later. But one of the reasons why you don't have a conscious memory of everything in the universe and everything in your own soul essence is because it's too much to keep it all straight, and it's too much to filter, and it's too much to be able to handle. At some point in the future, you will be much more open to that. You will perhaps have that ability to know, instantly, here's this life, here's this life, here's this life, here's this life. And you can pull from it all to be present in your current life. So that is coming. And you see a little bit of that with some of this transitioning that's going on. But just don't be concerned if indeed it seems as if you are living here and living here both at the same time. Okay, that was one thing I wanted to share. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is the planet. You've been hearing about the polarity changing, the way that the Earth moves on its axis is shifting to various degrees. This happens all the time. It always moves in. It's like if you look at a sphere, it doesn't just go continuously this way. It's another degree, another degree, another degree, another degree, but to a much greater ability. And this is how everything kind of turns and twists on itself. the energies of the earth plane. I wanted to talk a little bit about that also. The last time we talked about some of the places on the inner earth, and we talked about that sense of going beyond the ice wall, which is what's down in Antarctica and up in the North Pole. Both of these are ways in which you can get into the inner earth. And it is not just about moving to new dimensions, but when we look at the earth, everyone has that sense that it is a flat plane. Not everybody, but a lot of people have that sense that it is a flat plane. And that is what you're looking at, is just a slice of a dimension. You take each one of those flat planes and you can expand it out into many different vibrations, frequencies, dimensions, and each one of those gives it kind of a depth, and like where the smallest, the lowest vibration is most consolidated until lighter, lighter, lighter as it goes out. And it is what gives it that energy of a circle or that energy of a sphere of some sort. And I think there was a question a couple of times ago about, is that just what do they call it? Terraform? Is that just a part of it? How much of that is physical and how much of that is energetic? There is a physical sense to it. And there is a sense of the earth itself literally going on a curve. You always feel as if you're standing upright. It's not like you get to a certain part and you're tilting the whole time. But there is, when I'm looking at the planet, when I'm talking about it, and this is the way the majority of the planets are, is that they have that which is the most condensed in the center to that which is the most light vibration on the outside. And then when you start talking about dimensions, when we look at the inner earth, they're now beginning to communicate more with the people that live on the earth plane. Agartha is one of the names for one of the civilizations. Telos is another name for one of the civilizations. And you can get to these by various means, but they're still a very strong, solid break that prevents just any person from going inside. So the reason that I wanted to bring this up is that just as you're having that thinning of the veil, or thinning of the lines between you within your consciousness, you probably have an aspect of you that is living in one of those dimensions that are within the earth. And it could very well be that that aspect of you is now trying to communicate with you so as to help you on this ascension process. It may be that you're very aware of them. It may be that you are not. It may come to you in your sleep state, or it may come to you in your meditation. You can always ask to know more information about it and see what will come your way. There will be very open communication and movement in maybe 10 to 20 years from now, but until then, the only type of communication or movement will be those that are probably from the cosmos, or those that come from a totally different time-space reality than what you are. And that is because there is enough of that human experience of limitation and not understanding the full ramifications of what you see when you see it. So this is one of the reasons why things are just kind of kept in a little bit of a contained way, you could say. But as the vibration of the earth continues to move in the direction that it is, those lines will begin to thin even more. And some people have been saying, well, is the polar ice going to melt? Is it going to go away? If that is creating the barrier, then as that's gone, no, there will always be ice on both ends of the planet, and it will always be something that that is a bit of a separation from one reality to another. So some of the people that have also been talking to me, another question that they asked is, like, if they go down into Atlantis, when they've talked about where the Nazis were after World War II and the civilizations that were made there, yes, that indeed did happen. However, very, very, very rarely, if at all, did they get into the center of the earth or get into the higher vibrational civilizations of the earth. So what was the perspective? At the time that they were going inside, the nefarious ones were very much a part of the earth plane. There were nefarious negative ETs, there were negative humans, there were negative many different types of ETs, not just one or two. And so they're the ones that let them in. They said, here, come on in, build your base. And those of us that were of the light, there was warfare that was taking place. And this was around what you would call in your time space reality, the 1930s and 40s. And then once the war on the surface was, they declared it just ended, Hitler was not killed. A lot of what was given to you as reality was not the true reality, but it was time to just stop, because those that had wanted to make all the money, they'd made as much money as they could make. It was now starting to go in the other direction. So they declared, how is this war going to end? Who's going to be the winner? Who's the loser? And that was put out. So as people began to go to Antarctica, as there were more and more that were brought into there, we were working to defend it. And there were new walls that were placed. There were new parameters that were placed that totally sealed off the inner part. However, the closer that those beings got to it, some of that high vibrational energy seeped through. So what they created was their own set of angels, their own set of what they called light beings, and what they told the world were the light beings. And they were actually just part of their people and the nefarious ones. Some of them were, what's the word we want to use? Forced into that type of a reality. Many of them were kept in a place of stasis, like a suspended animation. And in doing so, they had to, just constantly project and get information. They were the seers, like they've talked about in other realities. And you've had seers on the earth plane for thousands of years. That has been very much a part of the earth plane. So sometimes as humanity started opening up, and when they started talking to you about, who are your angels, who are your guides, it was intentionally put into your consciousness that your angels and guides were these beings. Now, some of them were corrupted and they just did what, they wanted you to say. Some of them could not be corrupted because they had been, again, taken from a higher frequency, and enough of that was coming through on them. So they never completely went along with the program that they were supposed to go along with. That being the case, there were still out within the universe, in the Universal Alliance and in the Galactic Federation, and all those different groups that were working from the universe to help those be liberated, so to speak. It came a point when people began to realize, oh, no, I don't think that's true. Oh, I don't think. So in other words, it went from people not having any discernment that there was anything different to a discernment that, oh no, this is truly a high vibration. And they began to disconnect from those that were the lower vibration. This is in what you would call your year 2000. That was a big pivotal point, and that was when you were supposed to have your Nesara. That was when you were supposed to step into the ascension process to begin and prepare for 2012. But as you all know, you took another nosedive, and you didn't go as deeply down into the negativity as you could have. I hear you. Many of you are saying, well, we went pretty deep, didn't we? And indeed you did. However, those that were working with humanity, those that were working with the beings inside the planet, all of it was kind of a co-creative experience with the clear intention that disclosure is going to come out. You're going to learn about us. You're going to know what this is. And it is coming. And I hear all of you saying, wow, 20 years too late, or you're very, very slow. And indeed, it has been way slower than we all anticipated that it would be. However, we can take a step back and be in the full scheme of things. And we know that this is exactly where you need to be, and that humanity will come through this, and humanity will understand. And this is the new beginning, and this is a new reality. Okay, so I felt like it was important for you to understand that, because you, in your own experiences, in your dreams and meditations, you may be receiving these messages and not understand what they are. Well, hopefully now you'll have a better understanding when it comes through like that to you. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that you will hear a lot about the Pleiades. There are some from the Pleiades that were not necessarily of benefit to humanity, and the vast majority of the Pleiades are of benefit to humanity. So you will hear as the nefarious ones are throwing out their last ditch efforts to try to bring things down and try to muddy the waters for people, you will begin to hear them talk about, oh, those Pleiadians, they're horrible. So be aware of that, and always, always, always use your discernment. And if it's something that you read, ask, is this truth or is this not? And just always rely on your intuition. I hear you. I still hear people saying, yeah, but I don't trust my intuition. Well, the more that you trust your intuition, the stronger it will get. If you get an intuitive insight and you say, okay, I'm not 100% sure. Well, sure, of course, be cautious about it. However, don't just immediately write off every intuitive insight that you have, or you're going to shut that down very, very quickly. So take an opportunity if you get an insight that seems to come out of nowhere, and just listen to it and say, okay, good to know, thanks. And then just put it in the back of your mind. Sometimes if you act upon it, then it strengthens the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. So that is how you are strengthening that aspect of yourself. This is also what is helping you to live in the higher vibration.